What up, fellow high bangers? How you doing? I'm Robb and welcome to the greasiest of all time. Today we're chilling with Vancouver's Evereal. How you guys doing?
Hey,
Why don't you introduce yourselves and let everyone know how you started the band?
Sweet. Okay, so my name's Elisa, and I'm the lead vocalist for Evereal. The way that I started was actually through Nelson, our drummer, and Nelson and I had worked on another project before they reeled me in to do a cover band project for Evanescence, and we did that for about a year, all four of us, and then I was invited to take over as the lead vocalist for Evereal, and I haven't left since.
Yeah, I'm Nelson. I'm the drummer, and yeah, basically, I think Evereal had kind of gotten put on the back burner, and Steve had started this Evanescence tribute thing, and so he invited me to join, and then I knew Alicia, so we were playing in this other band, and it wasn't really going anywhere, and so she loved Evanescence from the beginning anyway, so it was perfect.
Yep.
And then after that, we decided, or Steve decided, well, maybe we'll try to get Alicia into Evereal and resurrect that. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Steve.
Who goes next, me or Gord?
I'll go next.
Oh,
Anyways, my name is Gord. I'm the bass player of Evereal. And how this whole thing started, well, Steve, the guitarist, and I played in a Rush tribute act before that. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then we kind of switched gears to the Evanescence tribute. And then, yeah, now we're doing the Evereal thing.
So you want my long story or my short story?
Well,
Yes, sir. Give us the story. That's why we're here.
They want it all.
It goes back 10 years, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's like 10 years ago. So we just did a show benefiting ALS, and it was the Carl Wattage Endowment Fund. So Carl passed away in 2010. And Carl was a drummer I played with as a teenager. We had a reasonably successful band that we did together. And when Carl passed away in 2010, I was getting all these people asked me to post videos of Osiris, the band that we were in. So I started posting them, and I started getting these messages from all over the world that we had these fans all over the world. So what ended up happening is some record deals came in, and I decided to release this anthology on disc. And so I thought, well, I start writing some new music. And when I started writing, the music was just like way different. So it didn't fit into sort of what we had done in the past. And so that's sort of where Evereal came. And then I just started recruiting some other people to come on. And it really just started as recording projects so that we could just release some music. And it just over the years, more people came on board, and more people heard about it. And then Evereal got offered some deals, and we put out an album in 2017. And shortly after that, a couple of the members left, and Nelson sort of came on board, and then he left, kind of, sort of. Is that right?
Well,
you had
actually, I had auditioned for Evereal, and then I didn't hear back from you, so I kind of assumed that I didn't get the gig. But what had happened was, I think the former singer had kind of backed away too, and Evereal was actually kind of going on the back burner, and you were starting to form this Evanescence tribute thing, and that's when you called me, and I was actually surprised to get the call, so Evereal was kind of on the back burner when I joined Forever Essence, but then from there, I think that's how it got resurrected.
Yeah. So basically, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's actually a pretty badass story. I mean, you just never gave up on it, right?
Yeah, it just sort of sits on, it's something you just keep sort of chipping away at.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of that's the best part of a dream, is the whole chipping at it, because if it comes overnight, it's not fucking worth it at all.
But it also speaks to the importance of finding the right combination of people, the right chemistry.
Yeah.
Because it's like a marriage, but with two extra people in the marriage. It's hard to keep together unless you've got unless you click, unless there's some chemistry there. So
I definitely think there's a connection with music, like musicians between each other. I don't think a married couple could ever have that feeling of just that mutual connection where you all just like sync and it just boom, you just minds meld, and it's just kind of a cool thing. And I think only musicians understand that whole concept.
And you can play with a group of musicians who are all good players, but
it
the
just
cement
no
isn't there.
chemistry. Yeah.
Sometimes we know what each other are gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I can tell what Steve is gonna do on the guitar, and I can follow it no problem. And same with Nelson on the drums. Like I don't know.
It's almost a telepathical connection.
Exactly.
Yeah. I get a really Celtic feel from the melodies in your guys' music. Where do you draw your inspiration from mainly?
I think that has a lot to do with my younger influences. Listening to a lot of, oh God, like, I don't know. I'm Polish, right? So I was actually born in Krakow, Poland.
Oh, cool.
And so, listening to Polish music, I call it European gypsy music as well. I really, like even now listening to just different European music of that Celtic, and Polish has a lot of that side of it as well. And younger, when I was just learning how to sing, Ace of Base, and just
That's a well-known Celtic band, right? Ace of Base.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll shut up now. But just having anything that with a melody, I gravitate towards that, and that's sort of where I usually start, is with a melody.
Yeah, I think for me too. I mean, I started lessons when I was 8, and I took classical guitar because that's what my dad insisted on. He said once you can play classical, you can play anything. So
if my mom's gonna hear this and she's gonna be like, I fucking told you, and I'm like, yeah.
But, so when you say Celtic, I mean that a lot of that is sort of intertwined, right? It's got those same types of harmonic minor type sounding melodies and scales and stuff. So it probably all emanates from that.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the theory behind the music, the thought put behind it, because you can hear it.
Well,
Yeah.
and in symphonic metal in general, you do often hear some Celtic influences, right? Like, Nightwish they lately brought in the pipes. Like, I can't remember what they're not a Scottish bagpipe. They're
Uilleann pipes.
Yes, right.
Love
So that's very Celtic. So I think there's all in some symphonic metal, there's naturally that kind of element to it anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I love about symphonic metal is it's, I always try to say like metal musicians of today are the Bachs and Beethovens, because like they have, it's composing. It's not just writing a song. You're quite literally structuring a composition, which is next level compared to writing a 3-chorded song.
True.
And putting the basic 4/4 to it.
Especially with bands like Nightwish. I mean, those are like classical pieces with different movements to it. And, I always was attracted to that. That was one of the things that I liked about Rush. Like they did concept albums, and the 2112 is the whole side is one composition, but with all these different movements. So that's what I like about symphonic metal.
I think that's just what I like about music, is when you can break off and you see bands like Rush who are just like next level, creating a whole other concept. Like, concept albums are absolutely beautiful. My favorite one, probably besides anything from Rush, is Coheed and Cambria, and Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. The whole album is just well written, and it's like chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I love listening to it because you can't just listen to a song. You have to listen to the whole album, or it makes no sense. Since COVID shut down the live industry, and I assume you guys, that definitely stopped things for you. How have you guys continued just besides marketing online?
Well, we had just released our EP in it was March. which
Yeah.
is exactly when the pandemic lockdown
Oh,
started
okay. So you're
happening.
just,
And
yeah, that's what you meant
so
by you're just like us.
we had some gigs lined up, but basically we were gonna, debut the EP, and we had all these gigs lined up, and boom, done. They were canceled.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for a while there, we couldn't even rehearse because of the restrictions. But then as they kind of eased up, we got back to rehearsing and decided, well, let's use this time, to rehearse and write
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Nelson.
Internet.
online,
There we go.
concert.
there he is.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes it hard when you don't look at it like a business for, I know a lot of bands just look at it like, oh, we write good music, we're gonna make it. Not in this day and age. You have to work at it. It is a business, it is a lifestyle. It's wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and get to emailing and get to promotion until 10 o'clock at night. It's not just like, hey, we can be rock stars like Slash, where we drink and party and it's just gonna come to us.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the thing. Once you've released the album, then the real work starts.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
promotion and all that stuff.
And I think that's where most bands end up, where they either excel or they decline big time, is in that they think they just released an album and the internet's going to do all the work.
Right.
I'm guilty of it. I did it multiple times where I just put out an album, I'm like, oh yeah, this will get heard. No, you got like 150 views 3 years later. You're like, God damn it, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vee lately and taking what he has to say to heart, but turning it from business into music and seeing what happens. And once you put your energy into it, you really see the outcome and where the benefits start to happen. The music scene in Vancouver, how have you guys seen it change over the past 10 years?
Yeah.
What music scene?
Right.
Well, it's just like, as soon as you think it can't get any worse, it does. Like another bar shut down or another music venue shut down, and you're just like, oh, well, that sucks. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Especially for this kind of music, because it's such a niche here, in Europe, or Japan or Brazil. There's nightclubs all over the place where you can go and see metal, but here, just not a whole lot of that kind of music. I mean, like you said earlier, it's country and western or rock, classic rock, that kind of thing.
Well, now they're going to DJs because they don't have to put up with bands or pay them. They just pay a DJ to come in and spin a record.
Yeah, that'll last for so long once they realize that 90% of them just get messed up. They don't take it seriously. I mean, there are the DJs who take it very seriously, but I mean, a lot of the DJs I've seen there's a handful who actually take it like it's a business. The rest are just like, damn, let's just party. So
Yeah.
I think that'll last for so long. I think the market for metal is definitely rising, even in pop culture. There's a lot more in video games, video, movies, commercials. So I think we'll get back to that peak where, like, when Metallica was like the shit and they were the biggest band at the time. I think metal will be appreciated like that again eventually. I just think the 90s and early 2000s kind of killed it. I think when screamo became a huge thing is when people kind of got turned off because it was something new. Only Pantera and a handful of other bands used to scream before. So I think that adaptation to getting used to screaming in pop culture will happen over time. But I definitely think metal with clean vocals there's no excuse for it not being popular in today's market, for me, in my mind, at least.
Well, with any type of music, I mean, it's oversaturated, then there's just too much of it, and it just becomes a thing of the past, right? It becomes overdone, and nobody wants to hear it anymore.
Yeah, no, and that's actually one of my questions: is how do you guys end up separating yourselves and being seen? Like, how do you take people's attention nowadays? Like, it's so hard to create content that will grasp people from just scrolling on Facebook.
It's almost impossible, really. I mean, because when you look at Facebook, like I look over the last week and you see what's trending, a lot of great music is on there, but what you see popping out is like 4 girls who can't sing, and it becomes viral.
Yeah.
So it's just a load of crap. It's just a bunch of crap on social media that seems to sell, and all the good product doesn't seem to catch on. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that doesn't catch people's attention.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it actually started a long time ago with MTV when people started listening with their eyes,
Yeah,
you know.
No, that's a
And
good call.
nowadays, to be, to get a song out there, you have to have a music video, and it has to be good, you know. So because like it's like a galaxy out there of new songs. So if you don't have something, visual to put out there, good luck getting it, circulating.
Yeah,
well,
that's hard.
and good doesn't equate to expensive, because some of the
Sure.
viral videos were very cheaply done, and there was something about them that people gravitated towards.
Hmm. It's weird to, yeah, it's weird to try and grasp the whole trending market while it happens because it evolves so damn quickly. Like, there's a lot of bands. I have a TikTok for the band and Enigma Media just because I know 3 years down the road it's going to be a platform like Instagram and Facebook. So I'm just trying to get it there now. But like, I watch bands that are on there and they're like doing fads that are like dancing and putting on videos. And I'm like, what happened to you guys being a band? You know what I mean? Like, isn't it about the music, not about dancing to a camera?
Yeah, yeah.
So I definitely, it's hard to get yourself out there. I find you have to be creative or you have to be really good at selling yourself. There's
put,
just two ways.
or put your cat on there. That'll sell.
That, yeah, I've actually was saying earlier to my girlfriend is they should get another chair with our pit bull and have her
Yeah,
just sit beside us. I was like, be a co-host for an episode just to see what would happen.
exactly. Make sure she's slobbering though.
Yeah, right. Where do you guys see yourself in the next 5 years if COVID, stops?
Oh, yeah, please not if, when.
When COVID stops?
Um, I would love to, go and be playing live. That's what I would love to be doing. I would love to be playing in front of, fans that have heard our music and that have, sought out to come to a show and to, play to our fans and play for our fans and,
Yeah, it'd be nice
hear-
to bring the music to the fans who are around the world.
Hmm.
As you know, there's not a huge scene in Canada and Vancouver in particular,
Yeah,
but it is pretty much worldwide. And hey, we made inroads into Russia this year, so that was a big thing.
yeah. No, I was mentioning like you guys have 30,000 followers. Like that's hard work to get people to that many people to actually be like, you know what, I'm gonna take my time out of my day and go and like your page because it's not nowadays they genuinely have to like your stuff if they're gonna go do it.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and that's probably partly because the page has been around for a number of years. So
Yeah,
as you notice over the last couple of years, Facebook, the algorithm is just it's gone psycho, and
yeah,
you literally can't reach anybody anymore. Whereas a few years ago, it was a lot easier to reach people.
yeah, for sure. Like organic reach was
Yeah,
definitely a hell of a lot easier.
yeah, exactly. And they weren't hammering you to pay them to boost the post. So that's probably a lot of the reasons that we did get a lot of followers as well.
Yeah, and I mean boosting posts isn't really, it's not that expensive compared to a lot of other advertisements. Like there's a lot of podcasts or shows, radio shows that will charge you a minimum of $50 just to be on there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I mean that's ridiculous because like how are you making your money with the music from the artists? So that's kind of why we started what we're doing is we don't charge shit. Like it's more the moral value of how much we love music and the
Yeah,
people
you're
who
seeing a lot of
dedicate their
that these
life.
days, the pay to play kind of thing. Even some like record labels and things like that, or groups that claim to be, they'll have contests and things like that, submit your song. And then you find out, well, they're going to charge you $40 just to listen to your song. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the vanity press of
Mhm.
several decades ago when people would pay publishers to publish their novel kind
Yeah.
of thing.
I definitely think that there's going to be a revolution slowly like after COVID, and we see all the bands that the flooded market slowly being weeded out because all the people who got their quick fame aren't keeping it up. So
Mhm.
I definitely think that there'll be a better market after COVID.
I hope so.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I see
speaking
it.
of speaking of free things, so when you're saying about the podcast and all that,
Mhm.
so yeah, we put together a Spotify playlist, which is free, because you notice how so many we get hammered with, pay to be on these playlists and pay to be on playlists. So we started our own playlist, which is around the same genre of music, and we invite bands to come on and be part of it, as long as they sort of participate in sharing it and, sort of self-promotion.
Mhm.
So if they're promoting themselves through the playlist, then they can stay on the playlist and, sort of get higher up in the rank. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just one way to give back, right?
Yeah, if there was one thing you could change in the industry today, what do you think it would be?
I think the way that the royalties are paid through streaming and digital sales. So they should really be, across the board, even everyone should have to pay the same, and basically pay the artist the same amount for streaming or for digital sales. Because you notice now that, they range from a fraction of a cent to, half a cent, per
Yeah.
stream. So,
Oh, it's,
and
it's not even that. It's like 0.03 or
zero, zero,
something.
zero, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there should be something where it's standardized and the artist can actually make something off of their music instead of relying on selling T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikki from the Fifth Circle, the band before you guys, she was saying that it'd be nice to see the Canadian government give like a baseline wage to musicians,
Mhm.
like a minimum wage, because it's a job. It's something we have to do. You know what I mean? It's a lifestyle, a living. And I agree. I think that'd be really cool to see the Canadian government realize that music is a culture. It's and in a country where we base it and pride ourselves on being multiculturalists, I think neglecting one aspect of music just because it doesn't appeal to everyone doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't think if you paid people to be professional musicians, it would help if there's no place to play. And that's one of my big beefs is the lack of venues. And it's not just for our kind of music. I mean, the whole nightclub
All
scene,
venues, yeah.
like I'm old enough to remember when and probably Steve is, to remember when you could make a living playing in Canada. You could go, even a cover band. I did it myself. You could literally make a living at it playing in clubs and pubs and things like that. You can't anymore. I mean, they used to hire bands for a full week. You'd play Monday till Saturday. That just doesn't happen anymore. And so it's not just our genre, it's the whole live
Yeah.
music scene in general. It's like, so if you're paying someone to be a professional musician, but there's no place to play,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
true. It's very true.
So that's one of my big beefs.
So yeah, like going back to the 90s when I was playing, live original music in Vancouver, when there was a vibrant scene, there was multiple places to play. And as an original band, you could not play a Friday or Saturday night unless you were a major band coming through town or you were
Yeah.
backing up some kind of major band.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you would play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and people would come out and see it. It was what people did. They like to come out and see live music. But over the years, not only are people not coming out, even if now they're offering you Friday and Saturday nights and people won't come out to see it.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
there's been this culture shift somehow to just sitting at home and watching YouTube and Facebook and not going out and experiencing that live feeling of live music.
Yeah, that's very true. Is there anything you guys want to say to the viewers or the fans before we wrap up?
Anybody?
Share, like,
Lots of things. First of all, come say hi to us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We've got a few videos on there that you can watch, as well as more on the way. We do have, we're we've got about a full album's worth of material that we're hopefully going to be putting together into one cohesive album in the next year or so. So more to come on that. And we're just, for any news updates, I think Facebook is going to be one of the top places that you can come and, like our page. And there's an Evereal, a VIP fan page as well that you can get yourself onto, that will get you the updates as soon as they come out.
Yeah.
We're on bands in town as well. And that's a really good app to, to follow your favorite musicians to find out when they're playing locally. And so once things get back to normal, that's a good way of keeping track of your favorite bands. So we're on bands in town.
Yeah, and hit up www.evereal.org, and then sign up for our email list as well, so we can keep you updated with stuff. Go on to Facebook and check out. We actually have a Evereal VIP page, which only certain people get invited to, and we will post stuff on there, like little behind the scenes stuff we're working on, or perhaps we're working on some new stuff, and we might throw that out there for you to check out.
That's
or
awesome.
any personal videos and stuff like that. And come say hi, and just interact with us, and then watch we're gonna have some pay-per-view stuff coming up, so you can just watch it at any time.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show and talking with me. We'll do
Thanks
it
for
again
having me.
sometime soon.
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
put all your guys' links in the description in the video. And when you guys get that album out, just let me know and we'll do another interview.
Awesome.
All right,
Awesome.
guys. You guys
Sounds
have a good
great.
night.
Nice meeting you.